Sometimes the voice you listen to in the morning decides who you will become by nightfall. Most people wake up and immediately surrender to noise, to distraction, to fear. But the Stoic wakes and remembers, I am the guardian of my own mind. Every morning is not a repetition of yesterday. It is a battlefield where your emotions, your thoughts, and your will face each other, and only one will lead. Welcome to Stoic Valor, where each word is meant to awaken the fire of your inner discipline and remind you that the strongest fortress you can ever build is the one within your own mind. When the ancient Stoics rose before dawn, they didn't rush to the noise of the world. They paused, reflected, and armed their souls with reason. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by reminding himself of a single truth, that the day ahead would bring challenges, but those challenges could never touch his inner peace unless he allowed them to. In his meditations, he wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That was not a poetic thought. It was a weapon, a daily mental armor, because Marcus knew that gratitude sharpens focus and awareness disarms fear. So what are these 10 powerful things to tell yourself every morning? They are not empty affirmations. They are commands for your spirit. They are reminders that shift your entire perception of life. But before we list them, we must understand why these words matter. Seneca once said, "A man is as miserable as he believes himself to be." The Stoics understood that our thoughts are the architects of our reality. Each morning, thought is a brick, and with those bricks, you either build a temple or a prison. The difference is awareness. The first step of Stoic practice is to reclaim the mind from automatic thinking. Most people wake up reacting, scrolling through notifications, comparing lives, chasing the illusion of urgency. The Stoic does the opposite. He pauses, he breathes, he chooses, because freedom begins not in the world outside, but in the moment you choose your first thought. Think of Epictetus, born a slave, crippled and bound by fate, yet he said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus has power over my will." Every morning, he reminded himself that the only thing he truly possessed was his own judgment, that no event, no insult, no tragedy could ever control his mind unless he gave it permission. That is the essence of Stoic morning discipline, mastering the dialogue within. When you wake and say, "Today I will control only what I can," you are not being passive. You are declaring your sovereignty. You are no longer at the mercy of the world. You are at the helm of your reason. Ryan Holiday, a modern voice of Stoicism, writes that the obstacle is the way, and every morning, when you face resistance, it's not there to punish you, it's there to train you. Your alarm clock that feels too early, your tasks that seem too heavy, your fears that whisper, "Not today," those are your teachers. Let's begin with the foundation, the first powerful truth of the morning. 1. I am in control of my mind, not the world. This is the cornerstone of Stoic peace. The world will spin with chaos, injustice, and unpredictability, but your thoughts are your own kingdom. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of this daily. He faced betrayal, loss, and war, yet his calmness remained unshaken. He understood that events have no power, our interpretation of them does. When you open your eyes each morning, remind yourself you cannot control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. 2. Today, I will meet people who challenge me, and I will not lose my temper. Marcus began every day by anticipating adversity. He said, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. By expecting difficulty, he disarmed frustration. When you prepare your mind for reality, you no longer suffer from surprise. 3. I will choose virtue over comfort. Comfort is seductive, but it weakens the will. The Stoic understands that discipline is a form of love. Love for your potential, your peace, your purpose. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." When you wake, tell yourself, "I will not waste this day on trivial pleasures or meaningless distractions." 4. I will see everything as training. When you view life as practice, every hardship becomes a lesson. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, echoes this in modern words. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Each morning, you train your system, the small thoughts, the small actions that determine the strength of your mind. To the Stoic, each moment is an opportunity to strengthen character. Cold showers, early rising, delayed gratification, these are not punishments, but exercises for the soul. 5. I will not let others dictate my peace. The Stoics believed that external approval is the root of internal slavery. Epictetus warned, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Your morning must begin with detachment from others' opinions. Tell yourself, their judgment cannot touch my purpose. This single belief can transform the rest of your day. Pause now and ask yourself, when was the last time you woke and felt truly in control of your morning? Or have you been carried by routine, by reaction, by noise? The Stoics knew that the first hour of the day determines the tone of the soul. That's why Marcus Aurelius would rise before dawn and write his reflections, not to impress anyone, but to fortify himself against the storm of life. When the sun rises, it does not argue with the clouds. It simply shines. Be like that. Now consider the power of this morning ritual. Imagine beginning your day, not with anxiety, but with stillness. Not with rush, but with gratitude. Not with fear, but with purpose. That is the Stoic secret. 6. I will act according to reason, not emotion. Emotion is not the enemy, it is the messenger. But reason is the ruler. The Stoic does not suppress feelings. He examines them. As Seneca said, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. When anger arises, it is not a failure. It is an invitation to practice control. 7. I will practice gratitude for what I have. Gratitude is not a cliché, it's a discipline. The Stoic thanks fate for every gift and every challenge. Marcus wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." Begin your morning by silently naming 3 things you already possess that no wealth can buy. Your breath, your awareness, your chance to begin again. 8. I will live as if today were my last. Memento mori. Remember that you will die, not as a morbid thought, but as a reminder to live deeply. Epictetus urged his students to contemplate mortality daily, so they would not waste time on trivial anger or empty pleasure. When you wake, whisper to yourself, if this were my final sunrise, how would I live this day? 9. I will align my actions with my purpose. Without purpose, mornings feel heavy. But with direction, every task becomes sacred. The Stoic seeks to live in harmony with nature, meaning in harmony with reason, virtue, and duty. Whatever your calling is, approach it as service, not burden. 10. I will end this day better than I began. Improvement is the ultimate Stoic pursuit. Each morning is a beginning, each night a reflection. Ask yourself, what can I refine today? What can I learn? Whom can I forgive? The Stoic life is not about perfection, but progress. These 10 truths are not just morning reminders, they are lifelong companions. They form the mental armor that prepares you not only to face the world, but to master it. When you live with such clarity, your mornings stop being battles. They become rituals of power. You begin to feel what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. Each dawn you have a choice, to react like the masses or to respond like the wise. The first path brings chaos. The second brings peace. So tomorrow, before you reach for your phone, reach for your soul. Before you chase noise, chase silence. Remind yourself of these 10 truths, and you will not just survive the day, you will master it. Because the morning is not a time of day. It is a state of mind. There is a saying among the Stoics, philosophy is not words, it is action. If you cannot live your philosophy, you do not understand it yet. The teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus were not designed for bookshelves. They were designed for mornings. They were meant to be lived, breathed, and practiced in the small, unseen choices of ordinary days. When you wake up tomorrow, the way you take your first breath, the way you step out of bed, and the first thought you allow into your mind, those are not meaningless gestures. They are rituals of identity. They tell the world who you are becoming. The Stoic doesn't ask, "What will the day bring me?" He asks, "Who will I be in the face of whatever the day brings?" Let's turn each of the 10 powerful things you tell yourself into practical rituals. Simple, clear, and transformative actions you can weave into your mornings. 1. I am in control of my mind, not the world. Begin your day by returning to yourself before the world can reach you. Do not grab your phone. Do not rush. Sit upright, breathe deeply, and repeat in silence, "My peace depends only on me." Imagine your mind as a lake. Every notification, every headline, every distraction is a stone thrown into its surface. But if you start your day by calming the waters, you can see clearly beneath them. A powerful practice is to spend the first 5 minutes of your morning in silence. No talking, no technology. Just presence, breathe, observe, feel the weight of your own consciousness waking up. This is where control begins. You are not trying to control the world. You are learning to master your perception of it. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." That means your first perception of the day sets the tone for everything else. So if you wake with gratitude, you are already victorious. 2. Today, I will meet people who challenge me. We all encounter difficult people, angry drivers, impatient co-workers, rude strangers. The Stoic expects this. He trains for it. Imagine you are a soldier preparing for battle, but your weapons are patience and understanding. Before stepping into your day, say to yourself, "I will meet people who are ignorant, unkind, or selfish. But their behavior is not about me. It is about their own suffering." Seneca wrote, "We should not be angry at those who err, for no man errs on purpose." Try this exercise. Each time someone frustrates you, mentally say, "They act this way because they don't see what I see." This single sentence can save your peace hundreds of times. 3. I will choose virtue over comfort. In a world addicted to comfort, discipline is rebellion. The Stoic morning begins with a test of will. It can be as simple as taking a cold shower, waking up without snoozing, or doing a short workout even when your body resists. These are not acts of punishment. They are reminders that you command your body, not the other way around. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I'm rising to do the work of a human being." To practice virtue over comfort means asking in every decision, what strengthens me, rather than what pleases me. Your morning routine becomes a field of training for the soul. 4. I will see everything as training. When you view life as practice, there are no failures, only feedback. Every delay becomes a lesson in patience. Every insult becomes a lesson in self-control. The Stoic approach to obstacles is active. You write them down, you study them, you turn them into teachers. Ryan Holiday calls this the obstacle is the way. He reminds us that adversity is not a wall, it is a mirror showing us what we still must master. Try this. At the end of each morning, write one sentence describing a challenge you expect that day. Then write how you will use it for growth. Example, my boss may criticize my work today. I will use it to strengthen humility and patience. In time, your mind begins to see every challenge not as punishment, but as preparation. 5. I will not let others dictate my peace. Peace is your possession. Do not lend it out. Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself. When you allow others to disturb you, you hand over your freedom." The Stoic trains to stay centered no matter the noise around him. A simple practice. When criticism or negativity reaches you, pause before responding. Feel your body. Observe your breath and silently repeat, "This is outside my control. My peace remains." Visualize your mind as a fortress. Strong walls, a calm center. Outside, storms may rage, but inside there is silence. The more you repeat this exercise, the stronger your inner fortress becomes. 6. I will act according to reason, not emotion. Emotion is powerful energy. The Stoic does not suppress it. He channels it. When anger arises, ask, "What is this emotion trying to tell me?" Often it's pointing to a value you feel has been violated. Once you see that, reason can guide your next action. Seneca devoted entire essays to anger, calling it temporary madness. His advice? Delay your reaction. Let the first wave pass. Respond only after reflection. Try this. When you feel overwhelmed, take 3 slow breaths. Count each one. Inhale clarity, exhale confusion. This small pause is the difference between reaction and wisdom. Reason is not cold, it's clear. It sees beyond impulse. 7. I will practice gratitude for what I have. Gratitude is not an emotion, it's a practice. Begin your morning by listing 3 simple things you appreciate. Not the grand, but the essential. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of your breath, the chance to start again. Marcus Aurelius found gratitude in the smallest things. He thanked life for giving him teachers, challenges, and even enemies, because he knew that without them, his character would not evolve. Gratitude transforms scarcity into abundance. It reminds you that you already possess enough to live well today. Robin Sharma once said, "Gratitude drives happiness. Happiness fuels performance. And performance, in Stoic terms, is virtue in action." 8. I will live as if today were my last. Memento mori. Remember death, not to fear it, but to sharpen life. Each morning tell yourself, if this were my final sunrise, would I waste it in distraction? Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short life, but that we waste much of it." He urged his students to live as if borrowed time were all they had, because it is. When you practice memento mori, you do not become dark or sad. You become awake. You stop postponing joy, forgiveness, or purpose. Try this reflection each morning. Imagine looking back on this day from your deathbed. What will you wish you had done differently? Then go and do it. Mortality is not a curse, it's a compass. 9. I will align my actions with my purpose. Without direction, energy is wasted. With purpose, even hardship feels sacred. Marcus Aurelius believed every human was born for a reason, to act in harmony with nature and contribute to the whole. Your morning reflection should connect you to that reason. Ask yourself, what can I do today that aligns with my higher purpose? This could mean serving others, creating something meaningful, or simply doing your duty with excellence. James Clear reminds us, you do not build habits to achieve goals, you build habits to become the kind of person who can. Your morning actions, how you think, move and speak, are shaping that person. When your actions match your purpose, peace follows naturally. 10. I will end this day better than I began. This thought gives meaning to every sunrise. Improvement is not measured in achievements, but in inner alignment. The Stoics ended their days with reflection, asking themselves what they did well, where they failed, and how they could improve. Seneca suggested, each evening, when the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. You can adapt this as a morning ritual in reverse. Before you start your day, visualize the person you want to be by nightfall, calm, strong, wise, unshaken. The day then becomes a path leading toward that version of yourself. By now, you might realize something profound. Stoicism is not a philosophy of cold detachment. It's a philosophy of practical love. Love for truth, love for reason, love for a life well lived. When you wake with these 10 thoughts and live them through small actions, your days gain shape. Your spirit grows steady. The noise of the world begins to lose its grip on you. You start to see that control is not about domination, but about harmony. Between what happens and how you respond, that is the hidden Stoic secret of mornings. Discipline is not punishment, it's freedom. And if this message is resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Valor, because here we don't just reflect, we transform. Now let's go deeper. Because the true test of Stoicism is not in knowing these truths, it's in embodying them when life pushes back. When the world is loud, can you stay quiet? When you are wronged, can you stay kind? When you fall, can you rise with wisdom instead of regret? These are the questions that turn philosophy into power. So tomorrow morning, before you open your eyes, remember, you have the rarest of gifts, the chance to begin again. And if you guard that first thought, you guard your entire life. There comes a moment in every morning, quiet but powerful, when the sun touches your face and you realize this is your chance to begin again. No matter how many times you've fallen, no matter how heavy your thoughts have been, you have this sacred pause between darkness and daylight to choose who you will be. That is the real purpose of these 10 Stoic truths. They are not just words you repeat. They are the roots of a new life. Because the Stoic knows something most people forget. Life will not wait for you to feel ready. The world will not slow down to match your emotions. So you must rise each day ready to meet it, strong, calm, and awake. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, betrayal, and the weight of an empire. Yet every morning, he wrote not as an emperor, but as a student of life. He confessed his struggles. He reminded himself that he was human. He trained his soul to stay upright in the storm, and you, in your own way, are doing the same. You wake not to seek comfort, but to seek control. Not control over people or events, but control over the only thing that ever truly belongs to you, your response. This is the quiet revolution of Stoicism. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It simply acts. Think about your mornings for a moment. How many of them have you surrendered to anxiety before even standing up? How often have you checked your phone before checking your own peace? You cannot build a calm life from chaotic beginnings, so instead, begin as the Stoics did, with stillness, with gratitude, with courage. Epictetus reminded his students, What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about things. This morning, as you face your day, look closely at your judgments. The traffic is not your enemy. The weather is not your punishment. The delay is not a curse. They are all opportunities to practice patience, resilience, and wisdom. Seneca taught that the greatest power is often simple endurance. That is what mornings train. Endurance of the mind. The ability to face the noise without losing the melody within. And Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. So stop overthinking what peace looks like. Live it. Stop waiting for motivation. Act now." The Stoics understood that wisdom is not hidden in grand speeches or complex theories. It lives in small moments. How you handle a rude comment, how you respond to fear, how you treat yourself when you fail. Each morning, when you whisper these 10 reminders, you are building invisible strength. You are training your reason to rule, your emotions to obey, and your spirit to stay free. Remember this truth: peace is not given. It is earned every sunrise. Now imagine this. You wake up tomorrow. The light filters through your window. The air is cool and still. You take a slow, deliberate breath. You remind yourself, I am in control of my mind. I will meet people who test me, and I will stay calm. I will choose virtue over comfort. I will see everything as training. I will not let others dictate my peace. I will act according to reason. I will practice gratitude. I will live as if this were my last day. I will align my actions with my purpose, and I will end this day better than I began. You don't just say it, you feel it. And in that moment you are reborn, not because life has changed, but because you have. That is the power of Stoicism. It transforms ordinary mornings into sacred beginnings. It teaches you that strength is not found in aggression, but in self-mastery. That peace is not absence of problems, but control over your perception. Ryan Holiday once wrote, "Stillness is the key." And he's right. When the mind is still, everything else becomes clear. You can see what matters, you can let go of what doesn't, and you can finally live aligned with your nature. The Stoic does not seek to escape life. He seeks to live it well, fully, presently, bravely. And that begins every morning, because your first thoughts are the seeds of your destiny. Water them with awareness. Feed them with purpose. Guard them with discipline. This is your daily battle for peace. And every morning you win it. You shape your world a little more. Seneca said, "He who has learned how to die has unlearned how to be a slave." When you wake each morning and remember that time is finite, you stop wasting it on trivial fears. You stop living as if life is endless. You start to live as if every sunrise is your final chance to become who you were meant to be. The sun rises, not to remind you of time passing, but of your power to begin again. So, as you finish this reflection, I'll leave you with one question. The same question Marcus Aurelius asked himself each morning. If you woke up today with the courage to live by virtue alone, how different would your day be? Let that question stay with you. Let it echo in your thoughts when you face your first challenge. Let it shape the way you speak, walk, and breathe. Because philosophy is not about knowing, it's about becoming. And if this message has touched something deep within you, if this helped you see your mornings with more clarity, share it with someone who needs peace. Subscribe to Stoic Valor, and let's continue walking this path together, not as followers, but as students of strength, serenity, and purpose. The Stoics believed that wisdom is contagious. One calm soul can calm many. One disciplined mind can inspire thousands. So become that person. Be the quiet example of balance in a noisy world. Be the light that rises just as the sun does, silently, consistently every morning. And when the darkness returns, as it always does, remember, it is not the night that defines you. It is your decision to rise again. That is Stoic valor. That is your power. And that is the secret every morning carries, waiting for you to awaken to it.